This
Yeah.
would have been the 76 campaign, and this, I guess, was maybe July, August of April, May, because I had gone to Laos after that. So it might have been June of, he said that when the campaign starts in November, I'd like you to cover it. And he said, that's how we make our stars. And I said, I don't like Washington. I don't like politics. I don't want to cover the campaign. And he said, try it. And if it doesn't work out, if you don't like it, I'll find something else for you. You've got my word. And he assigned me to cover Birch Bayh. And I started, I guess, in November. And I was on the road for 14 months. In 14 months, I was home 22 nights in the next 14 months. And it was a wonderful experience. I absolutely loved it. Would never want to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Never have done it again, except for spot coverage. But I've never wanted to cover a campaign again from beginning to end. But I absolutely love the process. And when Birch Bayh finished behind Eleanor McCormick in the Massachusetts primary and decided that the American people didn't want him to be its president, he dropped out. I had been on the road nonstop, and I flew down to Florida at the suggestion of someone I had met on the campaign who was writing for Rolling Stone, Hunter Thompson. And Hunter and I had become very good friends. And he said, you should come down and look at Florida because it's very different from New Hampshire, Massachusetts, which are smaller northern states, Iowa. It's a very different process in Florida. So I went down to Florida, just take a couple of days off, and I talked to Bill Small, and he said that we're going to assign in the next couple of weeks a second correspondent to those candidates who are left in the field. And I'd like you to consider being one of the second correspondents. And I said, great, I'd love it. And I said, if it makes any difference to you, I've made some good contacts in the Jimmy Carter camp because I had met some of the Carter people through Hunter. And they assigned me to Jimmy Carter, who at that time was just getting through the Jimmy Who stage.
Right.
And Carter went on, the short of a long story, to become the president.
As a reporter covering, is as they say, one of the boys in the bus. That's what you did in that campaign.
Right.
Why did Carter? How did he prevail? Why did in '76 against Ford? What do you?
I just think he was a stronger, candidate than Ford, and I think Ford had a couple of missteps. I don't think that. I think a lot of people resented the Nixon pardon, and I think some people held that against him. I think the country was ready for a Democrat, the right Democrat, and Jimmy Carter was the right Democrat at the right time. He was someone who didn't come from the traditional ranks of Democratic politicians seeking national office. He was a Southern governor who had had an admirable civil rights record. You say Southern governors, you think of George Wallace or Faubus. Jimmy Carter was a new South governor. And then Ford had this, sort of unfortunate bumbling image. The Chevy Chase doing those pratfalls on Saturday Night Live, which was very popular at that time, much more so than it is today. It was newer then. Well, Ford didn't fall as much as Chevy Chase did, but that was the impression you had, that here was this sort of bumbling guy, who didn't wear a helmet when he was playing football, which was unfortunate. I mean, I don't think he was an intellect, but Gerald Ford was no dummy. You know, but and then he made some. In one of the debates when he talked about Poland, you know, and not being occupied, excuse me, you know, people said, "Oh." So here's this new face, and you combine all of those things, and you had a Democratic president.